Alright, huge news in the world of mixed martial arts gaming today. Uh, if For everyone who doesn't realize, about 2 years ago, 3 years ago, EA Sports came out with a game. It's about 2 years ago. EA Sports tried their hand at making mixed martial arts video games, and they originally tried to do a deal with UFC. Things went sour. UFC basically told them go fuck themselves, so they went ahead and came up with their own thing. Used Strike Force and Dream and M1 fighters for their game. Actually got Randy Couture to sign a deal for their game while he wasn't under contract with the UFC, and put together one hell of a game. When it first came out, you know, all the critics and all the UFC nuthuggers, badmouthed it and said it won't be any good. It's not going to have anybody on anybody cares about. It won't sell. This and that. And within a couple of months of it being released, most people considered it a better game than the UFC game that THQ had put out. Both games are good in their own way, but EA Sports made a more realistic game, and the online play was real fun. The way they set it up was really neat. The last two times on the UFC games, I don't like the submission systems. I don't like the new submission system on UFC Undisputed 3. I hate it. You can't even see the guys fighting for the submission. All you see is two damn circles. But at the other time, there's some really cool things I think they did with the new UFC game. I believe they made it quite a bit more difficult in a lot of ways. Basically, after a while, the EA game just blew up, and everyone liked it better than the UFC game. And what they started doing was they revolutionized online sports play, because they came up with the live broadcast. It's not just, okay, of course if I'm fighting you online, it's happening right now, we're watching it live, but they came up with an actual broadcast for it with live commentators. They put together an event. You wait for your fight just like your competitor. It's like a real event, and everyone who's registered to the game can click on and sit back and watch the event as a spectator if you're not one of the fighters involved in the event or entered into the event. So it's really kind of difficult to understand what I'm saying. To me, it was hard for me to understand at first till I watched one, but it is an actual live event. They plan it out a week or two ahead of time. They get everybody in a live chat. They make the matches, challenge each other to the fights, and they put together an event. And then they have a couple of broadcasters who broadcast the fights as if they were live, real fights. So it sounded like, I wasn't so sure about it. It sounded kind of corny, and then when I saw him do it, I thought, man, this is really neat. you know, they basically adapted a whole league of it because they had the online champion, um, and they would have him defend his belts in certain events and things, and uh, or defend his belt in certain events and things, and um, it was just like basically real life, and they really did revolutionize it, and overall they did a better. One of my friends explained it good when he said that the UFC game is more of an arcade type game, and the EA game is more realistic. Yeah, I think that might be one reason why this year they added the simulation. The word I'm looking for, but option, the simulation option to the UFC game, is because before it was just default the way they set the guys up the way it is. Now you can play it like that, which they give them more stamina than what they have in real life. They give them more this and that than what they have in real life. And some of the guys, they underrate what they have in real life. But when they put it on simulation, it's supposed to simulate the cardio, the real cardio of the guy. And I'm not sure exactly what, but I know the cardio. So, they tried to make it more simulated. But it's still more arcadey, and it's fun. It's fun like that. It's fun as an arcade game. But I think the reason that EA Sports, why people liked it so well, was because it was just so much more realistic as far as the fights went. You didn't beat the shit out of a guy for 20 minutes and then get caught with one little punch and laid out flat like on UFC. Happens all the time on UFC. And there's a lot of little glitches. There was glitches in the game last year. There's glitches in the game this year in the UFC. They cage walk the ropes. Last year, whoever was on the left side was always the champion. Stupid little glitches that they could have spent just a little more time and money and fixed. And they just obviously didn't care. They just threw a game out. Which is probably a lot to do with THQ. So I'm hoping we're going to see I hope we're going to see an improvement in the UFC game in the near future. There was no word on any kind of first release date of a game, but they did say it was a multi-year, multi-game deal. So I think it's good news, and I think it's huge news for gamers, mixed martial arts gamers. There's a lot of us. There's a lot of us online, and the EA thing went over really well. I think it was, let's see, October, November, December. It was October of last year when they stopped doing the live events. I think you can still get on. I think you can still get on right now and fight a guy online on there. Maybe, I'm not sure. If I'm pretty sure you can, but you can't. They stopped doing the live events, which I'm really not sure exactly why they stopped doing those. If it was just a trial run they were doing, but it's the future of sports gaming, because they could do it with baseball, football. They could do it with any of that stuff, boxing, live games, live fantasy games, you name it. So just want to get your thoughts on the UFC. Dana White, it's another Dana White thing, saying he'll never, EA Sports was the one that, causing the trouble and all this, and he'll never do business. The UFC will never do business with EA Sports again. and now here we are, signed a multi-contract with EA Sports. So, yeah, it is what it is, and I think I'm excited about it because I gotta be honest with you guys, I wasn't too impressed with this year's UFC game. Uh, it's fun. It's got its good points, but it just I think the submission system ruins the game. They try to do better with it, and I don't know. I just really disappointed for THQ. I'm a big THQ fan. Really disappointed. Hopefully EA can do better. Always been an EA fan, always will be. So, been last word with Kimbo White. Let me know what you think.